Belgium.
The final roster is set, and week 1 is this Sunday. Welcome to the Dawg House, your inside look at the Cleveland Browns. Andy McNamara alongside Browns insider from WKYC Sports in Cleveland, Matt Florjancic. Matt, how are you, buddy?
I'm doing well, Andy, and you?
Hey, I'm just ready for real football. I'm ready for real football.
Amen. Preach on, brother.
Let's do it. Sunday, heading in to New York, technically New Jersey, I guess, to take on the Jets and Ryan Fitzgerald. We're going to have a full game, a week 1 preview on Friday's show. Today, though, we're going to talk about the roster cuts. Final roster set Saturday at 4 p.m. Practice squad guys signed, release some surprises there. We'll dive into that. And also our Twitter question. Is this Cleveland Browns roster better or worse than last year heading into week 1? Tweet us at AndyMC81, at Matt Florjancic. Email the show, thedawghousshow@gmail.com. Matt, so the game we're looking forward to, and in large part we're looking forward to it because it has been such a circus off the field for the Browns. Now an assistant coach has been suspended.
It is absolutely the worst possible start to a game week, a regular season week 1 matchup that I can remember. I've been around the team all my life. I've been covering it for the last 7 years. And looking at this team as a whole, I just see a lot of red flags about this team, and it's scary to think that they haven't even kicked off the season yet. They've already had to sign 2 quarterbacks to the active roster, one of which they released in final cutdowns, and then brought in another quarterback from the Rams in Austin Davis, who has 8 games of starting experience. So he automatically has more starting experience than your backup quarterback, who, by the way, is just now beginning to throw the football after a 2-week hiatus.
He's
because
upgraded
of
from tennis
arm
balls,
and,
right?
And elbow soreness. Then you know that Ray Farmer is going to start his suspension for 4 games because of the texting scandal last season. The day he starts his suspension, you have to indefinitely suspend an assistant coach for an off-the-field incident over the weekend leading into game 1. It's just distraction upon distraction upon distraction for this team, and Mike Pettin is doing his best to say, my focus and our focus will be squarely on the New York Jets this week. We're not interested in talking about any of the off-field distractions. We're not looking for excuses. I applaud the effort, but it's hard to sit there and say that you're not paying attention to everything that has gone on with your franchise and gone wrong with your franchise over the last few weeks, few months, and since really the start of the off-season program. And it's frankly embarrassing for the organization to have to go through this. And then it's also embarrassing to the fans because they're sitting there, they're trying to get amped up for this season, and they're thinking, hey, we've got, a full slate of games ahead of us. Hope springs eternal in Cleveland. And then you hear all this stuff continuing to pile up on each other. And you look at the offensive line, and they're probably the most veteran group that could withstand a coach being suspended. But it's still another distraction, and it's another thing that we have to talk about that doesn't revolve around football.
Yeah.
And when your main stories coming out of practice consistently are injuries or coach suspensions or GM suspensions or what have you that are not about things that happen on the football field, then you pretty much already lost the battle in the headlines, because whatever you do on the field is going to be, superseded by what happens with your program off the field. It's just a horrible start for this team, and you hope for their sake, at least the players and the coaches, maybe not the front office, because they kind of brought some of this on themselves.
Forget them for the fans' sake, Matt. For the fans' sake.
They've got to come out and they've got to win this game convincingly against the Jets. They can't have a lull and get beat 31-10 because then it already sets in motion the fail for Cardale, tweets and campaigns and all that good stuff. And pretty much fans have given up on the season before we've kicked off the home opener yet. And you really can't afford to do that if you're the Browns. You're already behind the 8 ball in the division that has 3 playoff caliber teams year in and year out. And you're going to try to compete with all the noise and the nonsense going on. You just can't do it. You got to fix it on the field first and let that be the statement that you make.
By the way, Matt, I am guilty of starting and continuing some of the hashtag fail for Cardale. I just want Cardale Jones. I don't care how they do it. That is the one guy And well, you know what? We have lots of time to talk about drafting this season, but real quick, because he put on a show again last night. That is the one guy I would sell the farm for. That is the one quarterback that I would be okay giving up RG3 type of stuff for. Long college season to go, but just how that guy's built, yes, please, that is an AFC North quarterback. Get me Cardale Jones.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, he's got the physical tools.
Yes.
He's played in Cleveland, so he knows what it's like to handle the weather. And also, he's not RG3, who was barely
Brittle.
6'1" and 210 pounds. That's a grown man in Cardale Jones coming downhill at you if he's running the football out of the backfield. And I told my wife yesterday when watching the game, I said, how would you feel if you're a linebacker and they go to you, okay, your job is to spy and stop Cardale Jones. Coach, he's bigger than me. What am I supposed to do? You know,
go for his ankles,
I just don't understand how you can stop that guy if you're smaller than him, because he's a whole lot of young man coming down the field with a full head of steam, and he may not run pretty and it may not be a glide and fast like a Terrell Pryor or a J.T. Barrett, but man, he's got deceptive speed, and when he hits you, you're going to be the one feeling it.
He shakes off pass rushers like dandruff. So you know what? Well, hey, the Browns could surprise us and make the playoffs, and then Johnny will ball out. We won't even need Cardale Jones. So that might be a pipe dream, but we can only.
That is the best case scenario
Come
for
on.
this team. And I tell you what, I always say hope springs eternal in Cleveland. I think it has spread to the Great White North, my friend.
Yeah. You know what? It's not even week 1 yet. We have to believe in that. So let's get to the roster cuts, the re-signings, the practice squad. Lots of surprises with the Cleveland Browns, and you begin with for Ray Farmer. He released 4 of his own draft picks, including the only receiver he has ever drafted in Vince Mayle. 6'2", yeah, he had that thumb issue, and not even signed to the practice roster. I understand they reportedly offered him a spot, and he's trying to work some stuff out. Maybe we'll decide on that later. But to cut your only wide receiver 4 draft picks, have your top free agent signing in Dwayne Bowe do nothing. Terrell Pryor barely playing. And then you have Brian Hartline, by the way, your other and probably going to be your top wideout, going to Twitter and essentially he denies it, but essentially saying, hey, it's too bad they don't let the players have a voice in who stays on the team instead of management. And lots of people took that to Dwayne Bowe and Terrell Pryor making the team instead of a guy like Josh Lenz who worked his heart out.
Yeah, for sure. And Hartline was very aggressive in how he handled the media yesterday. He's saying all these questions about him and Terrell Pryor's relationship is a creation of the media, and he's never said anything, and it's never been a bad blood situation between him and Terrell Pryor, but it sure seemed like it. And I got to tell you that if you're Brian Hartline, yes, you have an NFL pedigree and you have a lot of production in your career, but that still does not win you much favor over a guy that the front office has really, really, really placed a lot of faith in Terrell Pryor. In my opinion, if you're Brian Hartline, you're happy you're back in your hometown, and you're a 7-year vet, so you have earned the right to say some stuff, but you don't pick a target that the coaches and the GM kept on this roster for whatever reason, and especially regardless of past history, you're a professional. You put that stuff aside, you forget about what happened in college, and you just accept the fact that maybe he has changed a little bit and he's grown up since he made all those mistakes at Ohio State. And also keep in mind, he wasn't the only one that made mistakes. There were plenty of guys that got suspended or left school because of that situation. So it's not all on Terrell Pryor. And to be calling out your teammates like that, it's not good, and it won't win you too many popularity contests in the locker room. And it shows me that, yeah, you're a veteran, but you're gonna state your mind and you don't care. But when week 5 comes and you've got 5 catches for the entire season, be ready to hear some of those boo birds come out toward you.
Well, it shows to me that frustration is already boiling over, which is not good before the first game of the season for Brian Hartline. And hey, Josh Lenz, as we said, did a great job in camp. All he did was do anything that was asked of him. And Dante Whitner also, in addition to Brian Hartline, came out on Twitter and said Josh Lenz should make this team. He plays like a Brown and then gets cut. So when you make bold statements like that and it doesn't happen, it just makes everybody look bad. And I'm really surprised Lenz did not make this team. I guess it just got caught up in a numbers game, right? Because if you have that and Vince Mayle not make it, Those were two of the bigger surprises to me.
Yeah, without question. Lenz not making it was a huge surprise to me because he had played his heart out.
Yeah.
And Vince Mayle, I look at and say I'm not overly surprised.
But I thought because Farmer drafted him, he'd be safe.
It's disconcerting that they're willing to cut draft picks because I don't know that they've necessarily cut the right ones yet. That will happen when Justin Gilbert gets sent on his way because I don't think that he's shown an ability to make a team either. And I think Vince Mayle, regardless of what you think of him and the fact that he was injured, he was still injured, and he still went out there and tried to give you as much as he possibly could. And Justin Gilbert seems like he's calm, cool, and collected to sit on the sideline, collect a paycheck, and go home.
He's fine. Yeah, he's totally fine.
I'm not a big fan of that.
No, and with Mayle, too, there are, in a team so void of playmakers, so void of having anybody that can really be a true difference maker, to cut a guy who has size in 6'2", was a playmaker in college, and maybe just need a little bit more time to shake off the rust from that thumb injury, is shocking to me. Like, Ray Farmer is allergic to wide receivers, and I think him cutting his own draft picks, trading Terrence West, who, by the way, you gave up additional draft picks for to move up in the third round a year ago, is going to cost him his job.
And you get a conditional 7th in return.
Yes, you get nothing. Like, Matt, honestly, right now, if we're to say right now, and the Browns do not make the playoffs, like, Ray Farmer's got to go. Like, consistency be damned. That's fine. But you cannot be consistent with a guy who does not acknowledge importance at the quarterback position and at playmakers. Sorry, somebody's got to catch touchdowns. And I don't know who that's going to be on this team.
Can't be consistently bad. If you're consistent, that's fine, but you can't be consistently bad.
Yeah.
And he's shown two things when it comes to drafting. Consistently bad decisions at the top, because out of 4 first-round draft picks, 3 of them aren't good enough to start for a team that has not had a winning season since 2007 or made the playoffs since 2002. Yeah. That's a big red flag in my book. Then you look at the fact that he's allergic to drafting wide receivers because, well, the Seattle Seahawks don't have to draft wide receivers. I don't give a flip about the Seattle Seahawks.
They have a quarterback.
The Seahawks are a different team. They have an awesome defense. They have a system in place with a coach that they actually believe in from the top down. Mm-hmm. This isn't a situation where the coach wasn't hired by the GM like it is here in Cleveland, because Mike Pettin was hired by the previous regime, not Ray Farmer. So I look at this and say, Ray Farmer is doing his best to build a team, in my opinion, from the outside looking in, that's designed to get the head coach fired so he can get his own guy, because you're absolutely devoid of playmakers. You cut a 6'2" wide receiver. You keep a couple guys. You keep signing guys that are under 5'6", 5'9", to play a position that requires downfield ability. And all due respect to Taylor Gabriel and Andrew Hawkins, I know they have the speed that everybody talks about, but they still are not going to win a jump ball. If you can't win a jump ball against me, you can't be a number 1 target. Okay, I'm 6'1", 6'2" on a good day, and Andrew Hawkins or Taylor Gabriel, neither one of them are catching a ball over a DB my size. And there are chock full of teams in the NFL with DBs who make me look small.
Matt, I'm 5'10", and I would be one of the taller receivers on this Browns team. That is not good.
You would be.
That is
you
not
would be
good.
Probably second in height right now, maybe Dwayne Bowe. And that's
Dwayne
about
Bowe.
it.
And by the way,
I think now we're truly seeing the reason why this team has yet to cut bait with Josh Gordon. Because as much as they don't want to admit that Tom Heckert made that pick, because they're allergic to everything Tom Heckert did, and they seem to be making apparently the same mistakes, because Tom Heckert didn't draft a whole lot of wide receivers either. They need Josh Gordon just as much as he needs a structure in his life. Mm-hmm. They're not going to win without Josh Gordon, and that's why they haven't cut him yet. I know he's going to be gone for the better part of a year now, but they know they need him more than they don't, and that's why they haven't cut bait with him yet. They're scared that he's the only playmaker they got, and they're not going to get another one.
Well, they're absolutely not wrong either. And Gordon has stayed clean as far as we know so far, so fingers crossed he can keep doing that. And, again, that's looking ahead. But you're listening to The Dawg House, your inside look to the Cleveland Browns. I'm Andy McNamara alongside Browns Insider from